Boop, boop. Properties. There we go. Now we have jazz. Yeah. Jazzy. What happened to my big brush? There it is. When I say big, I mean big. Okay. Doomble brown. Hey, Tim. So let's fix this nose. Oh, I might need my magnifier for this. Oh. I'm gonna have to take my headphones off. That's why I don't normally paint faces on stream. Can't have music and head magnifier on at the same time. Okay. Bonk. Also, I smack the camera with my head. That is overexposed. Hang on, let's just fix that. Bigger video. You're gonna, yeah, okay. That is very exposed. There we go, that's better. This is the guy. I ended up taking his nose too red for his skin tone. So I need to fix that. And that's dried out while I was talking. Trying to get a bit more red into my recesses. It's quite hard to build contrast up on this skin tone without making it look really bad. I'm at an okay point at the moment, but I could delve into cartoony at any moment, so I've got to be careful. That side looks mostly fine. That's a bit of dust. Okay. Let's try and round out these cheeks a bit more. It's probably very hard to tell what I'm doing on this guy because I'm doing such small things. I cannot take the credit for that. This is still quite overexposed, this camera. And the saturation is well off. Luther, the Mighty Brush on Instagram, was the one that started really popularising putting yellow on as a spot colour on Raptors, and I just stole it. The white balance is a little bit blue. The light says it's 5500. Oh, okay. That's a bit too warm. It's like trying to adjust the temperature on a shower. There. Okay. And turn down the brightness. Camera control. There we go, that's a bit closer. It's still a bit too bright, but autofocus is just terrible. There you go, that's better. Yeah, there you go. That's a better representation of what it actually looks like. It's a little bit darker, but the saturation on the shield isn't killed anymore. Hey, War Mini Painting and the Calvatron. I actually mostly finished this guy a few days ago, but I've been looking at him. I've had him sitting on my desk, and I look at him every now and again. I'm like, yeah, he's not quite there. Something wrong with him. So I looked up some references from faces, and I'm like, his nose is just way too red. So I'm trying to fix that right now. Need to get more of a yellow tone going on the highlights rather than a pinky tone. It's still warming up the colour, but because my shadows are quite cold, with purplish shadows. But Mournfang Brown. So I have to warm up my highlights, but I warmed them up with red rather than yellow. I should have gone with yellow. Which makes sense because the lighter skin gets, as it kind of thins out, the more yellow it tends to be, rather than the more red. You get red where there's a lot of blood cells on very translucent skin. Otherwise, before that, you tend to turn yellow. So, Mournfang Brown is a bit more yellow. I'm also getting a weird false impression of what this guy's face looks like, so I'm painting it with a head magnifier on. That's already much better. It's like, I started off by stealing the recipe off Darren Latham's Instagram. And I was looking at it, I was like, that's like not really accurate, because he took it really pink in the highlights. I'm like, I was just looking at reference like, that is not how it goes. That is not how a dark skin tone goes when you start getting reflections and the skin starts getting highlighted on it. I do like Raphael brushes. There is a link to Jackson's Art Supplies. It's an affiliate link in the description. They sell all brands of paintbrushes, but they sell them a hell of a lot cheaper than you can get them on Amazon. So if you buy anything from there, your first order will be 10% off. And it helps me out, and it won't cost you anything, and you'll get some cool brushes out of it. But I use a Raphael 8404 size 1 most of the time these days. I found it holds its point. There's a bit more spring than this Winsor & Newton Series 7s, so I'm liking it for detail work a lot. It's a sergeant, so he gets the good treatment. I wouldn't do this on a rank and file. Kind of adopting the Dave Colwell school of painting a face, which is just stippling everywhere, trying to soften out that skin. You don't want too much contrast on a skin tone, but you need enough to be able to see what you're doing. So you get the contrast in the right places. I don't really want that there. Around that stud, that service stud. Trying to get the under eye areas with the tip of the brush. This is what the Raphael 8404s are pretty good at. Picking up those little folds under the eyes. And the left side always looks different to the right side after I've painted it. That's better. I think most places are out of stock. Yeah, most places online are out of stock of size 1s and 2s of everything that miniature painters use at the moment. I think stock is generally coming in end of this month at most of the places I've seen. So hold off till then. If you followed the link, if you make an account, you'll get 10% off your first order whenever you make it now, as long as you followed that link. But even without the 10% off, their prices are so good. I need... oh, hang on. I want to mix in something warm, but not overly so. Let's try Baylor Brown. Let's see how that looks, because it's not like a saturated yellow. If I mix that into my Mornfang, what do I get? Oh, that's not bad. That's quite good, actually. Yeah, the size 0 is pretty good. The size 0 is like between and where's this is. So this is a size 1 here that I'm using, which is relatively big, holds a lot of paint, it's pretty good. It's about equivalent to a Winsor & Newton Series 7 size 2. This is a size 2.0, and it's about the same as a Winsor & Newton Series 7 size 1, and so the size 0 is actually between these two, and yeah, you'll get a lot of mileage out of size 0. So if they've got size 0s, you're not going to be far off this one. There's only a couple of, I think about millimeters difference or so, and they're quite thick bellies, so they're good brushes. Prices on everything, they're really good. Like, if you want like a half litre of varnish, it's cheaper there than it is from Amazon. You know, it's compared to Amazon, like not necessarily compared to your local hobby store or your local art supply store, but they're some of the best prices I've seen online. It's also where I got my oh yeah, this is a good skin tone now. This is a good highlight. It's also where I got my paintbrush case from. This might not show well. Let's move that. Jackson's. I've had this for ages, but it folds out and it does a thing which is hard to show with the camera where it is. But this is going to be weird because I'm going to hold the camera upside down. That's my brush case. They sell those as well. Very handy. You can zip them up. Take the brushes everywhere. Got a little easel. It's nice. So yeah, I'm liking this. Adding this Balo brown into this Montfang brown is creating a nice highlight tone for this skin. Much better than adding pinks or reds or other skin tones. I have found them to be very durable. I haven't actually had to clean this one since I got it. There's a tiny bit of paint in the ferrule, but it has not splayed. It has held its tip for about 6 weeks of very intensive painting. Like, I've done everything with this brush. I've not used this one at all, and I've not used any other brush than this since I got it, and it has just been perfect the whole time. So very, very durable brushes. Hang on. There we go. Back to highlighting. Yeah, I like this. This is a good skin highlight for this tone. I can do the nose with this. Oh yeah, that's much better. Much better. It's a very subtle change, but you'll notice that his nose no longer looks like a clown's nose anymore. I need to get another highlight on there, but I'm just going to add Baylor Brown to this until I think I'm done. Oh, I can see a hair on it. I hate. The worst thing about wearing a head magnifier for doing painting is that you can see all the hairs, the really tiny hairs, on your models while you're painting them, but you can't do anything about them because you're in the middle of painting. To even up the other side now. Have you all ordered your Ripper Jacksons? I was going to go into town and get one, but then the area I'm in had a sudden boosting COVID case, so I was just like, nope, not going into town. Don't care how many masks everyone's wearing or not. I'm just not going. So I'm glad to see Games Workshop made the Ripper Jackson model made to order, because now I'm definitely going to get one. It is amazing how much the effect small touch-ups can have. I will add a little bit of flayed one flesh into this so I can get reflections going. Because generally the darker the skin, the more reflective it is. Generally. Again, just based on looking at reference. I don't want to screw anything up with this. Yeah, the Catachan kernel is high on my list of wants. You dare come off my cork. This is where the contrast really comes from on a darker skin tone. Not from traditional highlights, but from reflection highlights. And you want to make sure you get them in the right colours in the right places. I think similarly to black, like as an armour colour, it's hard to paint because black is defined by its reflections and its specularity. And that's a hard thing to get a feel for. It's a thing that I still don't have a great feel for, but I'm getting better as I practice. Always take the opportunity to practice. I need to feather that out a bit. Shadow in there. I can every time I turn off the autofocus, lots of people say turn on the autofocus, but for you, autofocus off, and that looks about right for roughly where I am. But as soon as I move it, it'll probably go out of focus again. Also, I can't see, when I look up, I'm looking up through the magnifier and I have to tilt my head up to be able to see what's on camera. Is that better? It'll be like 20 seconds before I get a response. Let's get that hair off. So no one else can see but me. It's fine. Get some Lego off night. Mix it in my Rhinox hide. That should work as a shade. A shadow colour. Yeah, that works. Yeah. We'll try that out. Needs a bit more water. very similar colours to when you paint non-metallic gold, actually. Just in completely different amounts. Hello! That was nearly a smudge on my hand there. I nearly went all over his elbow. I'm gonna need to use a wash of something. Where's all the stuff? That'll work. Just a little bit. Stop coming off my cork. Stop bapping the camera with your head magnifier. You idiot. Let's look. Okay, that's better. I'm happy with where that is. Thinking he's looking good there. Am I wearing a helmet? I'm wearing one of these. It is a powerful magnifier. Where is it? If I do that there, it's not gonna work. Well, hang on. Let's see if I can get the old magnifier working on the camera. And move. It's not. It's more powerful the closer it is to your face. You see that? It's like 1.8 times. I usually only wear this for doing faces. I'm going to do a few little touch-ups on his armour. If I can find my Castellan green. Where the hell is it? Is that it? No. Need a better paint storage system. I'm shadowing my own thing. Light source, so I can't see what I'm looking for. Aha, there it is. Found it. 'Twas in the shadows. My to use is quite thin. I've spotted a few areas where I could do some touch-ups on the armour while I had my head magnifier on. Need to get some damage onto that decal. Also need to touch up that, that's pretty bad. That's a bit better. Try not to overdo it, because if I do it, it looks really weird. I need to keep the scale intact. Something weird happened here from when I applied the decal, because I think I had to reapply this one twice. So it changed the colour of the shoulder pad in some areas. Hey, Space Boy. Yeah, gotta keep them squigs fed though first, right? Never forget to feed your squigs. They will eat your face. Get some of this, plus a little bit of this for my shadow. this? Yes, this is open camo. This backpack was leaning forwards more than I expected it to when I painted it. Just need to reinforce the highlights a bit more. I did watch the PS5 showcase. I am mostly excited about Deathloop. That's better there. I know that this shoulder pad got all screwed up because I had to repaint it. Fairly quickly. It's about what I expected for the price, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie, I wish it was cheaper, but it seems about in the right kind of ballpark for what I was expecting. Let's make that big crack. Right there. Yeah, what I usually do with new console generation is just wait a year. Usually you get the first price drop the Christmas after the launch. So I usually wait for that, and then also I know which I can pick up like 3 or 4 games to play through, because I'm mostly a single player gamer, not so much a multiplayer gamer. I like to chill on the couch. Too old for multiplayer games now. My reactions are shot. Do I have access to a dev kit? No. I don't. And if I did, I would still say, no, I don't. I would say, as a games developer, we're pretty much just as in the dark as everyone else. Like, unless you're actually Sony first party or working on a launch title, we're sitting there watching the showcase just like everyone else, just going, how much is it going to cost? Because we don't know. We don't know anything. Because just like Games Workshop, Sony doesn't want to tell people what is coming out and how much it's going to cost before they're ready, and they don't want to tell random developers that stuff because they'll leak it. I need more scratches on his feet, but yeah, I'll probably cover them in pigments and you won't notice. I'm not going to be anywhere near this careful on the rest of the squad. Right, I'll just put that scratch on the wrong side. It should be there. I don't really know many people from Ninja Theory anymore. I've kind of fallen out of touch with all of them. It was 10 years ago, man. Most of the people I worked with at Ninja Theory don't even work there anymore. It's pretty much just the directors that stay the same. I think a lot of them work at Naughty Dog now. Some of them went to Splash Damage. Just disperses all over the place. Churn rate in the games industry is really high. People rarely stay at the same company for more than a couple of years. If they stay in the games industry at all. Where's my focus? Focal point? Camera? Focal point? There it is. He's good for now. I've got some decals coming in the mail so I can do the company number on his knee pad. I need to do highlights on his metallics though. It's kind of ridiculous how long I've stayed in the games industry, to be honest. 18 years. 19 years next year, like early next year. Most people only ever really stay in the games industry 3 or 4 years max. Can't believe I'm individually highlighting the teeth of a chainsaw. I've come a long way since I was 15 years old. I never used to be this patient. That's much better. Those teeth on that chainsaw are shiny now. Honestly, unless the thing you desperately want to do with your life is just make video games, don't bother, just do it as a hobby. Because video games industry does not pay that well compared to any other job that uses the same skills. Like, that's why most people just hang out in it for like the early parts of their 20s. Like after graduating, they'll go get a job in the games industry, and then usually it's start a family, settle down, discover that you need to be paid more money, and change industry. Because, as an example, just one that I noticed the other day, and because it's kind of a growth industry, if you want to be a AI programmer, for example, I think the average salary is something like 50,000-ish in the London-like area. Depends where you look, obviously, but in like in the north of the country, it's less. But you could go and be an AI engineer or machine learning engineer and earn like twice that. And I'm talking like that 50 grand is for a senior, someone who's been doing it for a while. The money isn't the point of working in the games industry. It's because you have to make video games. It's like your only calling in life is to make video games. And in my case, I literally have no other marketable skills, because I tried painting as a career and it don't make any money. There's like space at the top in painting for like 10 people that can actually make really good living off it. Everybody else is just scraping by. Might be an exaggeration, but yeah, it's like super competitive, especially like commission painting. And unless you're a multiple Golden Demon winner, Slayer Sword winner, Crystal Brush winner, etc., most companies don't want to like talk to you about doing box arts, and that's where the money is, in doing box arts. Because you're not going to find many people willing to commission you to paint something to your highest standard for, in the case of doing busts for Bauxite, like 100 hours or something ridiculous. Over and over and over again. So yeah. Back to the games industry it was. But I love it there now. I love making video games. Always have and always will. That's a much nicer, shiny arm. I am not allowed to talk about the game I'm working on. I can talk to you as much as you want about Waves 2, my own game. I can't talk to you about the game I'm working on my day job. Incidentally, go on Steam and buy Waves 2. Do us a favour. It's dead good. I'll finish it one day. I've been told that it's very hard. And my response to that was, yes, it's supposed to be. Even if you don't want to buy Waves 2, at least tell your friends to buy it. It's not your money then, is it? I basically get like 8 hours a week to actually work on that these days. It used to be almost full time. Like any time I wasn't spent making a YouTube video was spent working on Waves. Now I get about 8 hours max at weekends, because I don't like doing it immediately after work. I like to unwind and do something non-video games related, such as paint models. Yeah, people aren't just aren't really into the whole arcade game thing anymore. I am aware that it is a niche audience. Not that bothered if these highlights on these metallics aren't perfectly crisp. I don't usually notice highlights on metallics that much anyway, so I can kind of get away with a lot. Oh, I keep meaning to play the Banner Saga. It's one of those games that every time I see it I go, I should play that. And then I forget it exists almost immediately afterwards. Just need to highlight this plasma pistol. There's a new hero quest. I haven't heard anything about this. Tell me more. But I am out of the loop with regards to that. I mean, I was psyched when they brought Warhammer Quest back, but then it turned out to not actually be Warhammer Quest. Then they brought back the Hammerhal one, and they never expanded on it. And then they decided to expand on Black Fortress, and I was just like, I don't care about Black Fortress. So I've been burnt before. Don't play with my heart. Oh, I need to do those. Do I? Yeah, I do. Interesting. No, I was not aware of this thing. I've not been keeping up on like my Reddits and my Rumour Mill sites and so on, so I haven't noticed any of this stuff. But that's interesting. I know someone who'd probably be very interested in that. I need to do the other one, but I think I might need to take them off the base to do that one. The inside ones. Interesting. I will keep an eye on that. Because we're in that 30-year nostalgia cycle, right? With Hero Quest. So maybe it's the right time. Is there an anniversary or something coming up for it? This is going to be tricky. Unfortunately, that's not in a particularly noticeable spot. I can touch up the areas where I screwed up. I think one of the reasons why I like painting raptors so much is that Castellan green is a base colour, base paint, so it covers really nicely over mistakes and really quickly over them. Okay, those are ready for attack, which needs a good shake. I didn't paint the little crusade icon on his vambrace. Don't need much of this stuff. Try not to get a hair in that coat of paint. Go away. I'm not going to do that one. That seems like asking for trouble. I mentioned magnifying glasses. I've just been over this actually. A Baboff. It is a head-mounted magnifier. It's got different lenses you can put in it. And about there-ish. Excellent for doing faces. You stick it on your head and then you proceed to knock the camera off your little mount on your lamp. Oh, I have missed a silly little thing. A tiny little detail that only I will notice. That's not true. Someone was bound to notice it at some point. The brand doesn't matter, that was just the cheapest one I found on Amazon. Right, there's nothing special about Rolson or anything like that, it's literally just the cheapest brand I could find. I usually use a magnifier of about 1.8 times for doing faces. And I find that is enough. Oh, let's put a little bit of orange on that. Those buttons are on the chainsword. Just be aware that it will make your eyes go funny if you wear it for too long. Yeah, it's lasted well considering. Oh yeah, I'm calling him done. I just need to do the base. But it's not going to be that base, it's going to be one of the resin bases I bought. Where is it? Big bag of resin bases. Let's get one at random. Boom, that's his base now. I'm not actually sure if it'll fit well on that. I'll have to cut the peg off. Probably that way. On that base, like that. It's kind of just about to leap over the rocks. Every time with one of these models I pull something off and I'm like, oh yeah, it's push fit, I haven't glued it together. This one always comes. The 8404 versus Series 7. I prefer the 8404 now. They're slightly cheaper, and I feel like they hold their point there a little bit springier, which is good for doing fine details. So, he is. Just get a look. Just wanna. This is me and my I could do a little bit more, it only would take a few moments. A little bit of that right over there. Doodle-doo. Feather that out. Slightly more contrast on that holster. Okay, he's done. Where's the focus point? There it is. Le Sergeant is done. Or as done as I'm willing to get him, because he is just for an army. He's not for, like, display. And the rest of the squad aren't going to take anywhere near as long. Because I don't have to paint a face! But the rest of the squad are practically done. I just need to do the metallics on them. And while I'm here, I've got the old Mornfang brown out. I need to repaint this Eliminator's head and his backpack. And then I'll call it for the night. That's Doombull brown. That's Tuskor fur. None of those are the colour I want. This is the colour I want. Took me a long time to settle on the colour for doing the cloaks on Eliminators. Almost a year, in fact. I have finally settled on my colours for them though, after repainting these cloaks like 3 times. See ya, Wayne. Have a good night. Don't forget to click that bell for notifications when I do go live. The Mornfang brown looks really good against the Castellan green, which is why I've chosen it. And it fits into the orange tones that the basing material I'm using on this force have. Don't have one of them on my desk for the base that's finished. But it's Fallen Leaves kind of autumn forest floor basing. So there's a lot of orange going on in the base, so it makes sense for the camo gear to be in similar tones. I've only got one of these guys like remotely finished, so he'll probably only ever get used in Kill Team. So I think they can use these in Kill Team. Can you use these in Kill Team? Someone look it up. The old eliminators with the sniper rifles. And this is going to be awkward because that paint's still wet. I don't want to push it into the thing. I can do it from the front. Nope. I'm sure it'll be fine. It was fine. Really, this guy's had to either be attached or on a pin, because he does not want to stay on the blue tack this way up. This is the way I have to have him in order to get all the sides of his hood. Painted that face a very long time ago. Never finished the rest of it. There we go. The rest of him looks like this. So I've just put an Agrax wash on there, and I'm going to shade it in some Rhinox hide into the shadows, and then highlight it up to Scrag brown with a little bit of yellow mixed in. Almost like my leather recipe, but it's a big cloak. Good stuff. Right, that's it for the night. It's time to shut everything down, put everything away. Thanks for coming out and hanging out with me during this not very long painting session. So I hope you enjoyed yourself, and remember, if you want any paintbrushes or anything, check the links in the description. 10% off your first order at Jackson's Art. Doesn't cost you anything, doesn't cost me anything. And yeah, good brushes, very cheap. I need to put this is in the wrong place. Over here is the right place. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and click that bell so that you get notifications when I do go live again in the future, if you want to have more hanging out and painting. And maybe bring something to paint as well. Ta-ra, guys!